Huge shout out to the Noti Gang. If you guys want to get featured in the next video, all you guys have to do is like this video, subscribe with post notifications on, and leave a nice comment with your gamer tag. Guys, you guys really enjoyed the last top 5 video, so I want to hit you guys up with another top 5 video. We're going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to give you guys some things that you will genuinely enjoy using. So we're going to start out with the MP40. Now, the MP40 is one of my babies personally, but we're starting out with the recoil booster for the high fire rate. Trust me when I say you're not going to notice the reduction of accuracy, and we're going to move on to the VDD 189mm short. Now, the increased damage range and limb damage makes this thing an absolute tank, and the reduction of headshot damage honestly isn't that noticeable just because of how much of a crazy machine just these two attachments make it out to be. But we're going to add on, so we're going to put on the slate reflector for the better visual. Now, some people use the Krosnick ISO 1M for the faster ADS, and if you can handle the slit, then I mean, cool, you can use that, and it's honestly a better benefit than the slate reflector if you can see it already. But then we're going to move on the Krosnick 33M folding for the sprint to fire speed and movement speed with initial firing recoil reduction. Now, we're going to fix that with brace that increases the initial firing recoil, and that way it completely cancels out and you only have the positives of the Krosnick 33M folding. Next, we have quick for increased sprint to fire speed, polymer grip for flinch resistance, accuracy, and recoil during sustained fire. Trust me, you want to use this. You don't want to really use the other ones. I mean, the other ones are cool, and maybe the close second would be stippled grip, but you want to have polymer. Trust me when I say you want to get into these fights and not really flinch that much. Make sure the recoil and accuracy during sustained fire is good. And next, you're going to want on the 7.62 Gorenko 45 round mags for recoil control, movement speed, aim down sight speed, and fire rate. This thing becomes a laser, and I see the minus bullet velocity, damage, bullet penetration, and damage range, but we're going to throw on lengthen for the increased bullet velocity, and last but not least, M1941 hand stop, and this becomes the ultimate, I kid you not, ultimate MP40 class setup. Then we're gonna move on to the next thing, which is the EM2. Now, I know some of you guys have been hating on the EM2. Some of your favorite YouTubers have been saying this is not one of the best weapons, but trust me when I say, try it for yourself. Honestly, try it for yourself and see how you feel about it. This is the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. This weapon is absolutely insane. Make sure you have this attachment in particular, though. You don't really want to have the other ones, and if you don't have the whole thing unlocked and you do have the variant that comes with the suppressor, then I mean, that's fine, but it's just not going to be the same effective agency suppressor. Put on the 25.8 task force for the bullet velocity, effective damage range, and horizontal recoil, vertical recoil control. You're not going to really notice the cons because honestly, who's going to be hip firing, and you're going to be trying to ADS for the most part with this weapon, so you're not really going to get caught trying to quickly ADS into a fight. You're probably going to be ADSing long range. We're going to have the axial arms ×3 to increase the 3 times and, you know, be able to easily kill the enemies. Move on to the 40 round or 50 round, you know, either is good. If you don't want any negatives, you can put on the 40 round. If you don't really care to have a slight reduction of ADS sight time anyway, it doesn't really matter, then put on the Staynag 50 round. Last but not least, we put on the field agent grip. Don't put on any of the other alternatives. I know with the variant, you're going to have the SFOD speed grip. I guess it's kind of okay to use, but I honestly would use field grip. And if you don't, just use on the foregrip. But next, we're going to talk about the Bren. Now, man, when I tell you the Bren is absolutely incredible. We're starting out with the MX silencer for the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, horizontal recoil control, and a slight reduction of aim down sight speed. But honestly, that's not a big deal at all. We're going to put on the Queen's 705mm Royal. Now, we're going to have horizontal recoil control, bullet velocity, reduced scope sway and gun bob, and damage range. It has a slight reduction of sprint to fire time and aim down sight time, but for the most part, you're going to be ADSing with the LMG anyway. You're not really going to be rushing around and then trying to ADS. You're going to be most of the time holding a position and taking out enemies, especially if you're like mantled or something like that. This thing already has no recoil without mantling. With mantling, it just gets even crazier. So we're going to put on the SVT 40 PU scope 3 to 6 times. Now, whether you use 3 to 6 times, especially if you're going to mantle 6 times, doesn't even move like at all. 3 times, it's a literal laser. So this class up right here is absolutely insane. Literally just these 3 alone. But we're going to put on the Queen's Model 11BH for the increased accuracy, flinch resistance, recoil control, and aiming stability. We're going to hold a tight grip on there for accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, and fully loaded just for max starting ammo. Now, some people want on hand just for the slight increase of ADS. Completely up to you if you want to use that. I don't want to use that, so I'm going to keep that off my setup, and we're going to put on polymer grip for the flinch resistance, accuracy, and recoil during sustained fire. Just when I say, like I said, these gunfights, you would love to have polymer grip for your Vanguard weapons, just because you don't want to get into a gunfight, you're bouncing all over the place. Imagine using a sniper And you know how when you're ADSing, you try to snipe at somebody and they shoot you, you're bouncing all over the place. You don't want that for your guns. You want to be able to actually have a strong ADS, a strong sustained fire. So we're going to have that, and then the 6.5 Sakura 40 round mags for the recoil control and accuracy, aim down sight speed, and fire rate. This increases the fire rate slightly, and I think that this makes it so much better. Now it slightly reduces the recoil, it slightly reduces the bullet velocity and range and bullet penetration and damage, but trust me when I say it's not even a big deal. With throwing on lengthen and bullet velocity fixes all that. This thing is an absolute laser of a gun. We put on the M1941 hand stop, increased recoil control and accuracy, and reduction of hip fire accuracy. Who cares, because you're not going to be hip firing this gun. This setup right here is legendary, and I wouldn't recommend using any other setup except this one right here. Next, we're going to talk about the Owen gun. This is one of the more so popular guns that have been used more often. This gun is absolutely crazy and deserves all the props. So we're starting out with the recoil booster for the increased fire rate and slightly reduced accuracy. Not a big deal, but we're going to use the Gawaiian 188mm shrouded for less damage fall off at long range, bullet velocity, and limb damage. Now it does a slight reduction of recoil control and headshot damage, but you're not even going to notice the slight reduction of recoil control. We're going to put on the Niter Model 47. Now some people use slate reflector and some people even use the hybrid. It's completely up to you what you decide to use. I like using the Niter Model 47. It just looks better for me and it works better for me. I then put on the remove stock for movement speed, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim walking movement speed. This thing treats it like a true SMG, and the cons are accuracy, recoil control, and aim walking steadiness. But thanks this thing already has low recoil, we're gonna have a slight fix to it and it's gonna be all better. But we have acrobatic for movement speed and sprinting move speed. Like I said before, I decided to use quick, but if you want to use on hand, it's completely up to you. If you want a slight increase of ADS, I don't want to, but you guys can use that if you want to. Now we have polymer grip for flinch resistance and accuracy and recoil during sustained fire. This thing gives it even less recoil and helps you out a ton in gunfights. I mean an absolute ton. We put on the 7.62 Gorenko 72 round drum. You have 72 bullets and you have increased recoil control and accuracy, fire rate, and magazine ammo capacity. Now it shows aim down sight, reload quickness, bullet penetration, bullet velocity, and range, but we fixed that. We lengthen. This literally compensates for this. Aside from like the reload quickness or whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then we have the M19 hand stop for the recoil control and accuracy. And this gun right here becomes one of the most powerful SMGs in the game. I think it rivals the MP40. Now last but not least, we have one of my favorite weapons aside from the EM2, and that is the AK47. Now this AK47 is an absolute beast. It's a tank of a gun and literally just maps people just like the EM2, but with slightly less recoil. Now I still think the EM2 kills a bit faster, but this is personal preference. Now if you guys want a very low recoil gun that kills extremely quick, this is the one for you. Now we throw on the GRU suppressor for sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. You don't want to put on any other ones because, I mean, why would you put yourself at a disadvantage and especially put yourself on the mini map? You don't really want to do that. We're going to put on the Spetsnaz 20-inch RPK barrel for the bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. Now you get a reduction of hip fire accuracy, slight reduction of aim down sight speed, walking movement speed, and sprint moving speed. Not really something you have to worry about too much. Axial arms ×3 for the better sight, to be able to see enemies more clearly, and to be able to zoom in slightly. 45 round. Now some people use a 60. It's completely up to you, whatever you want to use. If you want no negatives, use a 45. If you don't mind a slight reduction of ADS, then use a 60 round. Completely up to you. And last but not least, we put on the Spetsnaz grip for horizontal and vertical recoil control. This gun then becomes a laser and a tank of a weapon, with the cons being firing move speed, ADS firing move speed, and that's about it. This gun, like I said before, is also my second favorite AR. So these are my favorite classes, and if it did help you out, let me know what class setup and what loadout you guys are using in the comment section down below. I would greatly appreciate it. I stream every single day at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and have a great day.